Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unsanctioned podcast. Willy Dope here.
I am GiF the Great.
From the YDG, are we still calling ourselves Par City?
No, I don't know.
Fuck Par City?
Fuck.
We gotta edit that out. From the YDG here. Your YDG World Tag Team Champions, I like to say.
Oh yeah, word. We gotta get belts.
We do.
We're gonna get titles made. They're gonna look official.
We need to start, what do people do? We need to start a Patreon to buy us belts.
Yo, this mad podcast like shit that we gotta do. I can't wait till like we get ads. I'm probably getting ahead of myself.
First off, we need an intro. We barely have a graphic to promote this podcast.
Nah, we got a Well, we got one graphic. I'm gonna work on some, but
it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. But yeah, this podcast, we just decided, we talk about wrestling all the time, so why not try to make something out of it? We'll be talking about, all the going-ons within WWE, AEW, some TNA, whenever GiF
Impact
watches. Yeah, I keep calling it TNA. It's not TNA anymore.
Everybody calls it TNA. But yeah, it is Impact. And, we're going to be talking about that, some New Japan. I'll try to get into some other indie stuff, but I think the main focus everybody's talking about right now is AEW versus WWE and NXT and Friday Night SmackDown, which I think is just called SmackDown now. We're not even calling it Friday Night. I don't know. They got a bunch of branding things going on over there.
It was premiere week, man.
It was a big week.
Big week. So big that it seemed like they forgot about the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Yeah. We're going to get into it. Let's get into it, I guess. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Monday.
Monday Night Raw, the season premiere. I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fan. But that's been Raw for a while. But I feel like the Monday Night Raw that I saw this past Monday didn't convince me that this is going to be a fresh start or a new thing or anything better than what we got. But that being said, I guess there is a draft coming up, and I guess they do have some room to like change things up. But where do you want to begin with Raw?
Okay, well, a couple things. First off, I never really understood. Like, I get it, but then I don't get it. Like, technically, I guess it is the season premiere because it's the time of the year and everything like that. But for me, it's like Raw is on literally every week.
Yeah.
Why is this premiere any different than what Raw was?
I feel like a season premiere for WWE will be the Monday after WrestleMania with everything, like everything
kind of resets and restarts.
Exactly.
People debut, people get bothered. That's more of a premiere.
But, all right, okay. Here's my concern that I came into this podcast thinking: how critical do you really want me to get? How deep do you really want me to get with the things that I don't like about WWE? Because I could really go into the woods here, like deep into the woods, deep into the weeds.
I say go in unless they start cutting us a check.
Yeah, because they can't just take my ideas and suggestions without me getting something back in return.
No, but go ahead, man. Talk to the people.
The thing about WWE you got to realize is that they do everything for PR and marketing, and I see why they try to do things, but at the same time, it's like you gotta do things for the goodwill of your fans too, and it can't just be like these stunts to sort of, just
like tonight is tonight's the start of what they call Susan G. Komen month, where everything is pink on all of the shows.
Well, that's a noble cause, but with this is like I feel like what they were trying to do was basically, give networks or news outlets or things a reason for them to be like, oh look, WWE is doing something brand new and
it's a season premiere, big things are happening and you gotta watch. We're gonna be on the red carpet talking about the season premiere of Raw, and it's like, in their defense, I will say this: when the show started, a whole segment with Mysterio coming out and then Brock coming out and then Dominic getting murdered live on TV.
Well, that was great to see. That was great that was eye-catching from a view. But you should be doing stuff like that on a semi-regular basis. I'm not saying, it doesn't have to be touted as the season premiere of anything. Just, you have a fight coming up. Brock Lesnar's here in the building.
You wanted to have that feel of anything can happen any given week.
Right.
Not because this is the premiere or this is the night after WrestleMania or this is like, no, you want that same excitement all year round.
And then honestly, for me, it's like the rosters aren't even really split at this point. So it's like everything that's happening is gonna change. The direction of the companies is gonna change, of the brands are gonna change in a few weeks anyway. So I feel like that more so is like the season premiere, or what a season premiere should be. Like, okay, we have the roster, and this is what is going to be moving forward, and this is what is going to be moving forward. I feel like all this, and and like you said, it kind of hurts the pay-per-view coming up, because they hyped all these weekly shows and didn't really do anything for the pay-per-views.
I just feel like the timing was just weird all around, because it's like you wanted to do the draft and everything. I get it, to kick it off, but you had a pay-per-view still to worry about before the draft came up. You wanted to focus on the premiere and stuff. You can't really do the draft on the premiere. Like SmackDown, I would consider more of a premiere because it's like on a different network and stuff like that. So I get you don't want to do the draft on the first episode of SmackDown.
Right.
But then it just puts it in like timing wise in like a weird spot.
This sets up a weird dynamic for Raw, because I feel like Raw is no longer the flagship show, and I'm so used to Raw being that. Like, I've been so conditioned for however many years that Raw is the A show, right? And I'm going to tune in. And I was actually telling you and a few of our friends the other day, like the way WWE sets up their, like the rankings of the shows, my enjoyment is actually the opposite. Whereas, like, I enjoy NXT, a lot more than I do Raw. SmackDown is somewhere in the middle, and Raw is sort of like just been that show that it's there, and I watch it, and I'm used to watching it. But I watch Raw the most.
Exactly. It's the same thing for me. And it's not the hate on Raw. Like, I do, for the most part, enjoy Raw.
Yeah.
But it's more so watching out of habit than anything else. I legit went like a good from 96, 97, whatever, watching Raw weekly until like maybe about a year ago.
Right.
And when I had to, start working and watching like the replays and shit.
But now it's going to be weird, because I feel like Raw is actually going to be treated like not the priority anymore. I don't want to say it's the C show or the B show, but it's obviously SmackDown and Fox seems to be the priority. If we're just going by this week, and maybe we shouldn't just go by this past week, but SmackDown definitely felt like the A show.
It'll definitely
in terms of treatment from the company itself. Booking wise, we don't.
It'll definitely be telling on what they view as the quote unquote A show and the quote unquote B show after the draft, and seeing who gets drafted to what show.
And I was like, something, but if you're going by like the intro on SmackDown and like, everything that went into the production of that, they have
SmackDown.
Like
SmackDown's the A show.
Yeah.
Looks like SmackDown's
going to have
A
Roman
show.
Reigns, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar,
The Fiend,
Becky Lynch,
Undertaker, Rock,
Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, every week. That's what you expect. That's what you're going to expect. And Raw's going to be like 205 live.
Raw's gonna be the show that everybody should watch. Show is really the better show.
Raw's gonna be the recap show.
It's funny because like Heyman's behind the scenes on Raw, and like back in the day when Raw was the A show, Heyman was behind the scenes on SmackDown, and SmackDown was really the better show.
And this is gonna be where Heyman's gonna really have to prove his mettle and sort of like make Raw enjoyable again. But I feel like let's just get into Raw, because I have so many overarching thoughts about the company itself.
All right, so
let's just get into the show.
I wanted to just start with real quick. So like Raw with the new premiere and everything, they switched up the commentaries, and me and you were going back and forth about what you think of the new commentary team.
It isn't. Something is funny, because like I saw like I don't want to shout any other platforms out, but I was watching something. An old clip of like Brian Alvarez talking about Michael Cole and how I guess Bruce Pritchard was saying, we're gonna miss Michael Cole, and Brian Alvarez was like, no one is ever gonna miss Michael Cole ever. When Michael Cole is done with wrestling, it's gonna be like no one's gonna be like, oh man, we miss Michael Cole. Monday night, I kind of did miss Michael Cole and Corey and Renee, and maybe for the wrong reasons. Maybe because they're not, to me, they're not bad, but they are grating. And it's like, I kind of missed that element of it.
I don't think
I kind of miss being against the commentary team. This commentary team didn't really make me feel anything.
I can't hold, like, just real quick about your Michael Cole comment. I don't hold anything against him because I've found that, like, he can be amazing when kind of left to his own devices. Like, back when he did the what was it, the NXT UK tournament before the show premiered. Yeah, you can kind of tell he was doing his own thing, and he was pretty damn good with that. But it's just like, you know, just imagine somebody barking in your ear while you're trying to record or something like that. You can't really, you know, I can't hold him against it. But with that said, too, I also feel like chemistry goes a long way. And like we've said, like, I feel like Corey Graves, for example, he plays off of like a Byron and a Tom Phillips way better than he does a Michael Cole and a Renee Young.
Because and like for whatever reason, Michael Cole just doesn't interact. He doesn't have like that same back and forth with Corey, which I feel like would help Corey Graves. Even though I could see what Corey Graves was trying to do, you know, and I like that. I like, you know, the heel contrarian guy, but you got to kind of have the other, you know, perspective that's sort of like, you know, almost like a Paul Heyman and Jim Ross back in the day. Even when Paul Heyman and Jim Ross were on Raw back in like 2001, I was going back to like, you know, old WCW if you watch it on the network. But yeah, even, you know, like the early 2000s on Raw when Jerry the King or King was gone, and you had JR and Paul Heyman, like their chemistry to me was great because Paul Heyman would just be like this zany contrarian heel and
the super heel,
right? Yeah. And JR would sort of like slap him on the wrist and get tired of him, and
trying to be the straight guy, but like have to put him in the place
exactly, and just eventually get sick of it. You know, I like that chemistry, but this new Raw team is just like everybody sort of straight laced face, and King just seems like the guy who's not up to speed anymore, and is sort of just giving the generic. That's the other thing about King too, man. I like Jerry the King Lawler, don't get me wrong, but you got to let Jerry be Jerry and not this geriatric King that's just sort of out there and sort of like, guys, just
like we know he's old, but let him do his thing.
Let him do his thing. And he's out there like trying to be the good grandpa, and like, what did he say about Ricochet? That was so. He was like, oh, I saw Ricochet a few months ago, and I didn't think he had it, but now he does. It's like, King, you're out of touch. Ricochet, since like you know, like Ricochet has been that guy, and I'm not saying like he's like the top guy, but it's like, you know, everybody's been praising Ricochet and how amazing he is, and then here you come saying, oh, I didn't know, I wasn't sure about him before, but now I see the talent. I don't know. The team, to me, just, I don't know.
Vic Joseph, I like him. I think he's good. He was good on NXT UK and the couple of episodes of 205 I was able to watch. Dio Madden, that was my first time actually listening to him. I'm going to chalk it up to, like, you know, maybe it was like first time jitters. Yeah. Because I feel like it wasn't bad. It just lacked that that energy. Like, it picked up in certain parts of the show, like specifically, like I noticed the tag match with War Raiders, and I believe they were fighting the OC. Like, that match kind of came off a little bit better than me. And I'm gonna fast forward real quick. Just like Hell in a Cell last night, I think they did a better job than they did during Raw. Yeah. But I guess we'll see tonight. We'll see if like the chemistry starts to build more and everything like that. I just needed more energy out of them. It could just be, you know, you're so used to hearing Michael Cole on Raw too, but like, just, it wasn't bad, but I was meh. It was meh.
Yeah, it was middle of the road for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like Raw doesn't benefit when the commentary is middle of the road. They need like a voice of Raw to make that show live up to the name.
That welcome to Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? Like, that energy gets you hyped, you know?
And that the energy, just the chemistry, like, I don't know. I feel like Raw to me has gotten away from what that name is, and it's just gotten so bland and so regular. And I feel like the attempts, like the Bobby Lashley thing, and
we're gonna talk about that.
Just everything around Maria Kanellis and the whole pregnancy thing, and just it doesn't come off good in 2019.
Somebody has a fetish.
And I mean, talk about it.
Somebody has a fetish. Nah.
They say that Vince, you know, he's late to the party and he learns certain things and then he gets obsessive with it. And
it like goes back to him not wanting to sign Gail Kim back in the day. until like the story goes from what obviously I don't know if it's true or not, but the story goes that Vince didn't want to sign Gail Kim, and like JR had to tell him that no, people are really into Asian girls, like there's even Asian porn, and supposedly Vince didn't know that Asian porn was a thing. Vince is just he's out of touch. I'm gonna just put it flat out. He's out of touch. And then when he does get in touch, he's all up in that. He's all up in that ass. So the joke being that apparently Vince just found out what cuckold porn is. Yeah. So like that's how you got the story with Mike and Maria Kanellis and not knowing who the baby daddy is, and now Bobby Lashley and Lana damn near making a baby on stage. Yeah. And this is while Rusev just stood in the ring and watched, mind you. Yeah. Which that kind of like, all right, if that's gonna happen, cool. But like, why are you just standing there and watching? But it's all been playing out awkward to me. Yeah. Like even if that's the storyline you're gonna go with, Maria Kanellis isn't good at None of them are really good at delivering this storyline. Even if this is and I mean, maybe it's just the storyline itself is just weird and zany and just where is this coming from on this show that is so sanitized, and now you're trying to present us with this cuckold angle where we don't know who the father of the baby is, and Mike Kanellis seems to be cool with it. He's just okay with it. Yeah, like where is all this coming from on this show that is so sanitized? And I think he literally told Rusev when supposedly Rusev was the father, like, look, I don't even care anymore. I think he literally told Rusev that before they had a match. Like, I don't even care if you're the dad, something along those lines. And there's so many layers to this. I thought you meant Vince was... No. Just go out there and just... It's just speaking of Mike Kanellis supposedly being okay with it, like, which I just think it's unrealistic. And it sucks. Like, I hate to criticize it because I'm always happy to see when they're just using people that aren't really used like that. You know, I'm happy for them. I'm happy they're getting the opportunity and stuff. But it's just like, come on, do better than that. Like Bobby Lashley is a legit athletic monster. He fight. He's a combat sport specialist in real life. He was undefeated in Bellator. I'm not sure what his record is now. Undefeated in Bellator for a long time, legit collegiate, athlete and all this, and you got him doing this. And I'm not saying Bobby Lashley, screams charisma, but sometimes it's just like you got to give guys certain things to work with. Like if you looked at Bobby Lashley in TNA and Impact when he was a heel, and I'm not in working heel is sort of like a cheat code because you get to be, as dastardly and as much of a dick as you want to be. But Bobby Lashley in Impact actually made me believe in Bobby Lashley, the athlete. Like, yo, I am that good, and you do need to pay me more money. And, like, he was coming out, and he was, like, really, like, that cocky, like, and he had chops on the mic a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can do something to tap into Bobby Lashley's, personality a bit more. This isn't doing anything for him. And somebody like that, like, you can kind of, like... You don't need, like, the mic skills of, like, a Jericho or Rock or whatever. Like, you look at him, he looks like a beast. Like, he can do more talking with his actions within the ring, within a match, than he can on a microphone. And Rusev is a lot of the same thing. Like, Rusev probably isn't the best talker, but if you look at Rusev, you wouldn't want to fight him. Exactly. And you wouldn't think he would be doing anything absurd, like being involved in this, Jerry Springer-light storyline. And the thing is, too, about Rusev and Lana with this story, this is like the 4th time they've done this. Yeah. They did this with Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. They did this with Enzo Aiden English. They did it with Enzo and Cass, I think, at one point. I believe, like, Enzo was, like, in her... hotel room, something like that. The Rock's made jokes of sleeping with Lana before. It's like, why is the fact that Lana sleeps around ongoing gag within WWE? Well, then I remember hearing at one point that Vince said that he couldn't believe that Rusev could land a girl like Lana. I never heard that. So I think Vince just has it in his mind that, they shouldn't really be together, but they're together somehow. And I think maybe he tries to, like, play that out in storylines. But
it's the fourth, like you said, it's like the fourth or fifth time that they've tried to do this.
Come on, like we've seen this before.
Is there any indication that this ever has worked?
No. And each and every time she gets linked back up with Rusev.
Right.
So just why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? But moving on with Raw, like we kind of skipped over a couple of segments. I wanted to talk about, like I was mentioned briefly earlier, Dominic Mysterio getting murdered on live TV.
That was great.
That was amazing. The show could have ended after that segment and I would have been okay with it. It was that good.
Because it looked real. It looked believable. It looked realistic. And I mean, like, God forbid I would hate for any fan to really, like, get hurt. But sometimes you want to see fans get fucked up.
Like I said, like I would love, I think I had texted you, like I would love if like they ever ran a segment where like just have like a couple of plants in the crowd and just make it seem like Brock or whoever running into the crowd and just fucking up fans.
And granted, you can't overuse that, but I feel like that to me is like one of like the ultimate taboos in like sports.
That'll be like a legendary like segment if
the greatest,
it was done right.
The greatest NBA moment to me.
Malice at the Palace?
Yes. Like, that was insane.
Yeah. And it's like you definitely have the means to run like a segment, a gimmick like that.
And it's like it's something like it's like you're not supposed to see that. That's absolutely not supposed to happen. It's the last thing that you want happening in a wrestling context, in a entertainment context. Like, you don't want the performers violently attacking, the spectators. And the spectators, as wrestling fans or sports fans in general, that spectators can cross the line with what they say and stuff like that. So it's like, realistically, in any type of fight or any type of street setting where you verbally attacked, an athlete on the street, and it was just like they were left to defend themselves, they'd likely fuck you up.
Yep.
And I'm not saying Dominic did anything to deserve that, but it was like one of those things where it's like, oh shit, this is playing out in real life, and this is exactly how it would look. So Raw gets an A+ for that. You can't do that all the time, obviously, but it was great to see. And that's what I feel like Raw like sort of is. Like, it's supposed to be a little bit shocking in that regard. It's supposed to grab you by the balls and say, yo, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't look away from that. That I can't look away from. Dominic getting manhandled and eaten alive, I can't look away from that. And Mysterio, too.
Yeah.
And that's why Brock should be the champion. No. Yeah. That moment was great.
That was great. I really enjoyed that. The rest of Raw, for the most part, was your run-of-the-mill Raw episode. You had Lacey Evans fighting Natalya again for like the third or fourth time, however many times. I think they're fighting tonight, too.
They are.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Monday in case this isn't up on a Monday. Ricochet and Cesaro, they're going to do what they do. Great match as always.
They're
but again, we've seen it again. No, this happened last week. Like, we've seen it before. So it was nothing. It was good, but it's happened a couple of times already. Same with the OC and the Viking Raiders. We've seen that a handful of times now already.
Who are the tag team champions on Raw?
Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Legendary tag team. They've been teaming together for so... Let me just say, just off topic real quick, I hate throwing together tag teams just off of the fact that I enjoy when a tag team has a tag team finisher, a tag team name, and an actual tag team theme music. And not the starting with one, then abruptly cutting to the other's theme, then abruptly cutting back to the other theme.
This is one of the tropes, like one of the notorious WWE tropes that we all hate. And it's like they don't focus. I mean, I don't want to say they don't focus on tag team wrestling, but they don't. WWE just doesn't know how to book shit. And it, like, period, like across the board. Like, NXT might be the only show with like some type of like satisfaction of like, okay, there's a tag team division. Here's the guys that are winners. Here's the guys that are losers. Here's the guys that are going over. Here's the guys that are being pushed. Here's the storyline that's happening, the feud that's happening, da-da-da-da-da. And here's the satisfying conclusion. WWE just doesn't know how to, like, I feel like they book week to week based on the ratings, especially now more than ever that the ratings have been down for like the past year or so. and like reached like record lows and like everything got so desperate. It's like they don't know how to just give us a storyline from start to finish.
They get scared if the ratings drop a bit and they're in the middle of the story. It's like, well, that's not working.
Or
Let's throw something
coming,
else.
Or Fox says they need to do best 2 out of 3 falls to keep the commercial breaks. Oh, like, and I just want to see a tag team division where it's like. And even if you do have to like throw in, a thrown together tag team, do something with them that makes it seem like they're something. I don't know. It just seems so random, and there's really like, what do Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, like, what do they do? Like, what do they do with other tag teams? Like,
I almost like they had them running around like and helping like the OC beat down like, I want to say Braun Strowman. My mind is blanking right now, but I remember I believe it was Braun Strowman. The 5 of them were like beating down on Braun, and it's like and this is me kind of missing like big factions and stables. It's like if they're teaming and then they kind of join up with like the OC or something like that, and they kind of make sense as why they're such a good team and all of that. All of a sudden, I just want it to make sense. I just hate it when it's like 2 guys thrown together. They're coming out and you're announcing them as Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Like, no, give them a name, give them some music.
Like if it's like this, if it's gonna be this ironic team that was just thrown together, then why not play into that? Like, and that's the other thing too. Like, if it's gonna be this, then play into it a little bit more. Like, okay, we're a thrown together tag team. We don't have chemistry. All these other tag teams are gunning for us. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch our backs. We got to be on our toes. We got to be...
The way to do it and do it right, and WWE has done it right before, is how they did The Bar. What they did with Sheamus and Cesaro.
Right.
They had that best of 7 series feuding with each other.
Yeah.
Reluctantly forced the team together.
Right.
And kicked ass.
Right.
And then eventually grew that respect for one another, and they became one of the best tag teams. Yeah, exactly.
Just Cesaro and...
Exactly. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, like, just do something besides just having them hang around other tag teams, and then it's like, okay, why are they cool with all the other tag teams? Why are all the other tag teams cool with this thrown together tag team
who beating all these established tag teams who've been teaming for however long?
These other tag teams should have a chip on their shoulder, and it should be like, no, we want a shot at them because we know we could beat them. And even if they ironically somehow escape with a win, at least make it a thing where it's like, one of us are gonna beat that tag team. Like, one of these things is not like the other. We're gonna go after, like, I don't know.
Nah, I feel you.
Raw just doesn't do anything week to week that makes sense.
I feel you. Just one more thing, like I guess a kind of big segment. You could say more of an announcement. They had that Miz TV segment with Hogan and Flair, and hyping up the crown jewel. I guess it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's like a 5-on-5 match, pretty much. Team Hogan versus Team Flair.
Should be fun.
A rehash of TNA, Lethal Lockdown. Back when they did Team Hogan and Team Flair.
Impact was very underrated. TNA was very underrated. That's going to be a common theme, and I'm not going to harp on it too much. But thank God for TNA because, and like, and as a TNA fan, I've seen some of this before.
We need to have like a TNA Impact corner for you.
Yeah.
Like the end of every show.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. That was Raw. Raw was Raw, pretty much. Moving on. No more SmackDown on Tuesday, so we had the big Wednesday premiere. AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite.
I hate that name still.
That's like if you're like making like a like if you're playing SmackDown.
But think about Tony Khan. I guess that was literally his fantasy
Tuesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't knock him. If I had the means, I'd do the same thing.
Well, look, he stole my fantasy. My fantasy name, GPC. If it would have been all right, GPC was my like SmackDown. What is it? SmackDown, whichever.
It's WWE. Back then, it was
SmackDown. Like here comes the pain.
Yeah.
GPC was like my little league within that, my little brand within that, and my show would have been called GPC All Out. That would have been So they kind of took that with the first pay-per-view or whatever, or All In, or
Yeah, because they were definitely keeping an eye out on what we were doing on PlayStation 2.
They watching. They always watching.
You know, that's how that goes. But what do you think of Dynamite, the premiere Dynamite?
It's a very good-looking show. My only
better than you thought it would.
Yeah,
for the first episode out.
My only issue with I was more so interested in all right, I know the wrestling is gonna be good, right, with AEW and NXT. I had no hesitation about how good the wrestling was.
They do what they do.
The in-ring action, yeah.
Show in, show out.
I was more so interested as a broadcasting major, media arts major, production major, all that stuff. I was more so interested in how the show was going to look, how it was going to feel, how it was going to be presented.
Because one of the things that we talk about with a lot of the AEW shows, and we love all of them so far, but and this may sound like us nitpicking, but again, we're both communication majors, so but a lot of the AEW, the camera cuts is off, the audio is a little muffled from time to time,
right?
Stuff that, so we both were kind of talking about, we hope it's better by the time they get the TV, and I do think it was better. There's still some work to be done, but you could tell it was a lot better than it was with the past couple of pay-per-views that they've had.
Aesthetically, I think the only thing that, and it's not even really an issue because everybody loved it apparently, or everybody was impressed by it. I just hate, I don't hate it, but the color schemes, they cheated. They used every color in the rainbow.
That's a fact, though. I didn't really think about that.
They used every color in the rainbow.
What color should we go? Use them all.
Right? And I'm sometimes I like identifying Raw with red, and the red, and SmackDown is blue, and NXT is yellow and gold or whatever. I kind of like that color association when it comes to certain shows. But I mean, the show looked great, and especially for their debut, which we knew was going to be sold out. We knew the hype around AEW, we knew the arena was going to be packed. They did a good job lighting it. I don't know if they use a crane cam or a drone. Some of those crowd shots that were hovering over.
It looked really good.
It looked really good, and the sweepings. Really it looked. It really
even
showed
like one shot that I really liked. They had the corner cam. How sometimes they have the camera in the turnbuckle, and there was a shot of MJF throwing Brandon Cutler into the turnbuckle, and then it had it from that camera angle, and they just looked really, really cool.
Those camera angles never last.
Yeah.
TNA did it in the beginning of Impact, in the very beginning.
WCW used to do it back in the day too, right?
I don't know if WCW did it. They had no.
Well, they just had the cameraman jump up on the.
They had the cameraman. They had the little box in the corner where the cameraman would stand and it was
get up on the
yeah. But that corner cam, WWE did it for a while, and they didn't stick with it. I don't know why they never stick with it. And I mean, it's a cool little angle. I mean,
you don't have to necessarily show that angle all the time, but why not just have it there, just in case something cool happens? You can always pull it up real quick.
So yeah, the show looked great to me. I was also concerned about how they would present characters and stuff like that. I feel like they did not the greatest job of it, but a passable job of it.
Some guys they did a lot better with most. I love what they did with putting the kid Sammy Guevara over.
Yeah,
Guevara. I think I'm saying that the right way. With him, I don't know if he's kind of with Jericho now or whatever that situation was, but him having a match with Cody and then kind of setting up Cody after with the Jericho beatdown and everything.
It's kind of, they got to, things will be explained, I feel next week and moving.
But it has me intrigued on where's this going?
But even backstage, they didn't do backstage promos necessarily. Well, they had SCU out there. Mm-hmm. They had them do the Obama Secret
outside
Service
the White
parody,
House,
whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just something to get the characters over a little bit.
Which Scorpio Sky did a pretty damn good.
Yeah, Scorpio Sky did a good job.
Yeah.
I saw people criticizing the part where they were outside on the stage, and then Lucha Brothers came out. They said that was pretty hectic, and I mean, like I said, but it's established. But it's at least establishing something and getting some sort of characters over and some type of feud over.
And then I feel in a way, it's kind of you want to just get the Lucha Brothers eyes on them, so people can oh, who's these guys who may not know who they are? Hype up their tag matches coming up. I think it's this week. I'm not sure.
Right.
And I get it. I get why they did it. I don't think it hurt the show.
No, it didn't.
I don't think it hurt the show.
But that was one of the things I was looking for. I was looking to see like how are they going to introduce characters and feuds and stuff like that. Because like the one thing I'll say about like AEW versus NXT is kind of like you had to know what was going on and like just watch it for what it was. It was straight wrestling, right? Like for the most part,
NXT was like presented as like I keep like saying it was like a takeover light.
Right.
It was like a takeover on free TV.
Right.
Well, not free, but you know what I mean.
You want to jump back and forth with the NXT?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday night wrestling.
Yeah, Wednesday night. So Wednesday night, what do? We watched AEW on the big screen and had NXT on the computer.
Yeah.
And that's sort of parallel to how the shows themselves looked. Like AEW was the big arena and NXT was like the little clubhouse. Mm-hmm. But the wrestling on NXT was great.
Top notch. That Matt Riddle and Adam Cole match was...
It was great.
Beautiful.
And then like my wrestling mind is like you gave so much wrestling away on the NXT product. You didn't give us storyline. Like you didn't really give us like character development. Like it's sort of like, all right, if I want to watch great matches, great NXT. I could just zone out and watch that. But
fact of the matter is you do have a lot of wrestling fans that watch for the stories and stuff like that. Don't really critique the actual wrestling as much as like us with like a podcast would.
Yeah, and for me, I feel like that's a little bit of what's missing in modern wrestling today is that they focus so much on the in-ring. And it's like, granted, these guys are athletes, show your shit. But at the same time, a lot of what got me into wrestling as, you know, as a younger fan, as just like a casual fan back in the day was like the look, the feel, the characters, the promos, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many of us went into school talking like The Rock or throwing up the Diamond Dallas Page thing or doing the suck it or, you know, pretending to be like Steve Austin with the catchphrases of the New Age Outlaws? It's like, that's what's sort of missing because nowadays, what do you have? Seth Rollins burn it down as a catchphrase.
And it's like these shows, they have these characters. We're not saying that NXT doesn't have these characters, but if your first time watching NXT was this past week, you just got a bunch of title matches, which again, the matches were amazing, but it's just, if you're watching for the first time, you're not really invested in anybody one way or another.
Right.
You know, you didn't have this person come out and cut a promo like, oh, yeah, I like this. I like this girl. I like this dude. You know what I mean?
Guy. I like his character. Like, one of the funniest things from like back in ECW, and that's the other thing. Once you get to know us, you're gonna know who we are and what we like. I was a huge ECW fan back in the day. Wasn't just the violence, even though the violence was, you know,
the violence was definitely eye catching.
Right, eye catching. One of my favorite characters from ECW, and this is. Nobody's special and nobody important to the business today, I would think. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? You're not listening, but, you know, no disrespect. No, I was talking about Danny Doring.
Yes.
Dastardly Danny Doring always had some stupid punchline or some, like, stupid, like, name for a move. And he was just like, this guy is unbelievable as a character. Like, he doesn't like anything special, but he lays a bunch of chicks. Like, he gets with a bunch of women, and he has, like, I'm Dastardly Danny Doring. I don't stop till the panties drop. Like, that was just funny to me as a kid, and it stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? It made me want to see him get his ass kicked every week or say something funny every week. And it's like he wasn't the greatest wrestler
it's stuff
at
like
all.
that like when you're first exposed to somebody, it catches you. Yeah. Like for me, like talking about ECW, it's not even listening to somebody cut a promo, but I just remember the first time I'm seeing Sandman come to the ring. He's in the crowd with the beer, cigarette in the mouth. I'm like, yo, who is this guy? Like, I've never seen this before, and that's like that brings you in.
It's a unique presentation of like, and you know something that's gonna be weird because AEW for the most part has all these off the wall, untraditional characters like what's his name, Orange Cassidy.
That's my guy.
Right.
That is like, my
how
guy.
How are you going to present that to a main show? I'm interested to see how they do it because he's gotten a lot of criticism from like, you know, people that I like Jim Cornette. I like listening to Jim Cornette a lot. And it's like, oh, he's ruining the business. And AEW has a lot of new, untested, I don't want to say experimental, but like characters that like old wrestling fans who are maybe trying to get back into wrestling that have lapsed since, like, you know, WWE has sort of like fallen off, or the Attitude Era has fallen off, or whatever the case. How are these guys going to be presented? And I feel like Orange Cassidy, you mentioned Sandman back in the day was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy can't be a wrestler. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like that was kind of like,
he's fat, he can't move.
It's like, yo, I can do what he's doing.
He looks like somebody's uncle that like shows up to like the Little League games to just like curse people out
and get drunk.
And it's like, he's not gonna go on the top rope and flip off and oh shit, there he goes.
Rolling Rock.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like Orange Cassidy is one of those guys where it's like, he don't look like
and I feel like he kind of got that same reaction. Like, for the most part, a lot of people's first time seeing him was in that the Casino Battle Royal at what was it, Double or Nothing, where he's going back and forth if you want to call it that, with Tommy Dreamer, and it's like the crowd got into it immediately, and like he kind of blew up online after that spot, and he really did nothing in that match.
I'm just interested to see how he's gonna come across. I'm interested to see how, like, I mean, Joey Janela, you know, he's eye-catching as far as what he does in the ring. Darby Allin, all these guys.
I like Darby Allin.
Yeah, all these guys are eye-catching and can actually
MJF.
wrestle. MJF. They gave MJF some mic time. Like, and that's the thing. Like I said, AEW did a better job to me of just presenting their characters, even though they're new, even though it wasn't like the best job in the world. I'm not saying NXT doesn't have their characters, but NXT definitely, I feel like they, in a sense, gave us too much wrestling and not enough, you know.
It's basically a takeover.
Yeah.
It's really a takeover. I'm really interested to see like what this week will be with the second show of Dynamite, and you know, NXT is going to give us great wrestling week in and week out, I believe, but this week I'm fairly certain it's going to be a different feel than how it was last week.
And like, definitely Dynamite, and people were saying this, and you know, I don't know who picked up on it or not, but Dynamite definitely played it safe with the characters they presented. Like, we still haven't met Joey Janela, we still haven't met Darby Allin, we still haven't met who's the other guy, the hardcore guy from
Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc. We still haven't met Luchasaurus or Jungle Boy.
Speaking of Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and a couple of those guys, one of the interesting things that came out of last week, towards the end of the week, I don't know if you saw, that they announced that they're going to start doing another show on YouTube to supplement? Is that the right word? Yeah, sure. Let's go with it. With Dynamite, called AEW Dark, where they're gonna take the dark matches that they take before and after the show and present them on the YouTube for free.
Oh, okay.
And those same matches are gonna count towards, like, AEW's very big on like the wins and losses to dictate who's challenging for the belts and stuff like that. And it just came back to my mind because Luchasaurus and Jurassic Express, I think they're going by, they had a match on there facing I want to say SCU, I believe it was SCU, and there was a couple. Darby Allin had a match on there, a couple of those other
I heard there were a lot of
good
dark matches from that.
So I believe that's going to start showing on the YouTube every Tuesday. So that's like, I love that idea, because it's like, now people are invested in those dark matches that you get to see when you go to a live show, and it's not just like a quick run through the spots real quick and send the fans home happy. It actually means something. These people are they're getting a bonus staying a little after the show and stuff like that. I love that idea.
So that's good for the live show. It's good for the live show. So like we said, and I mean, you know, NXT is gonna do what NXT does week to week. I don't doubt that NXT has any problems presenting its characters or doing anything new. But if there was an opportunity to do it on a Wednesday night where the most eyeballs are going to be on wrestling than probably ever on a Wednesday night, they might have dropped the ball on presenting those characters to new fans. NXT's fans know who those guys are. They know who Adam Cole is. They know who, you know, everybody that was featured Wednesday night with NXT. NXT fans, week to week, they know who those guys are. New fans, however, that might have wanted to tune in and get into it, might have been like, all right, who's this guy? What's going on? You know, the matches were impressive though. The building might not be, if you're flipping back and forth between AEW and NXT. Because when we did finally flip to NXT during the run over, it reminded me of like a early ECW like arena
with like the lighting and everything.
Lighting was so dark. The arena looked dingy, and I mean, like, Full Sail has looked better to me.
And I think that's what the main thing. Like, we're not critiquing like that intimate look, but it's like NXT looked better, in our opinion, looked better than it did last week. Like, It seemed like since the move to USA, they've made it darker.
They've made a color change. They've made like an aesthetic change that like just doesn't work for, you know, what modern TV wrestling fans would probably want to see.
Because it just looked more like if you went to like a indie show as opposed to like before. I guess you could kind of describe it like it still looked like a WWE production, but more intimate, and it just looked intimate. If that makes sense, it's not making any sense.
And I'll bring it back to Impact. Like, Impact is struggling. You know, I don't want to say struggling, but compared to what it used to look like,
production-wise,
you know what I'm saying? Like, the buildings they run sometimes are a little bit questionable, but I'm always impressed at what they do production-wise with Impact versus what the building actually like look like. They'll be in a club in Queens, New York, that doesn't have anything going for it aesthetically, but they'll make sure that the screen is bright, the graphics are running, they have like little TV
They do
screens.
a lot with a little.
They put like TV screens in the background in the dark spots of the area, so it's kind of like everything looks like some type of production is going on. And NXT Full Sail, they have the LED screen. Why not use those LED screens that are all the way around the fucking building? Like, why not have those on throughout the whole show? Like, let's not kid ourselves here.
And it's like if you're trying to like hide the smaller crowd, like it's okay. Like it's a smaller arena.
Right,
like
we get it.
It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to look like 10,000 people at every show.
Just make it look good.
That's it. But yeah. So that was Wednesday night. I don't think we really need to go through every match and every segment. Just one quick thing I want to add to Dynamite that I liked. I'm just looking through my notes and everything, and I meant to bring this up. I really enjoyed the fact that for the most part, you can see that they introduced a lot of their new characters by having them either tag with or in a match against people that are already established that like the casual fan might already recognize. Like Sammy Guevara fought Cody.
Right.
You had Pac versus Hangman Page, who people might remember Pac from
205
from 205 Raw, everything like that. You know, you had Jericho teaming with LAX. I refuse to just call them Santana and Ortiz teaming with LAX against, you know, the Elite, like stuff like that, giving these guys who may have not gotten a lot of that other exposure, giving them the rub, so to speak. You know, Moxley coming out in that match as well. You know, I think they did a really good job at that. So I like to see that more. And especially like a lot of those guys don't really have that experience of wrestling on live TV.
Yeah.
So it helps them. It helps them grow and everything like that. So I really did like that. I want to give them props for that.
And then you just got guys out there who know what they're doing on live TV and can sort of like, you know, call the pacing of the match. Maybe that's getting a little bit too insider. But, you know, you got Jericho out there. He could probably dictate like, okay, you guys want to be facing this way when this happens. And that's the other thing, too, when it comes to production. Like a lot of the guys... you know, they can do amazing things athletically, right? And you could do whatever move their mind comes up with. And, you know, the imagination of the young wrestlers these days, you know, you couldn't dream of some of the spots that they pull off back in the day. But now they're doing them and they can pull them off effortlessly. No one's saying you can't. But it becomes different when you're on TV and live TV. Now it's like, okay, you want to make sure that this is positioned this way so that the camera could get the move going. You know what I'm saying?
You're not just playing to the crowd that's in attendance. You got to play to the crowd that's at home as well.
And you're pacing the match so that not too much is happening at one time. Like, what was that pay-per-view? Like the ladder match last time with the Young Bucks and...
where who was it, Matt or Nick, when one of them died?
Well, no. Yeah. They both tried to go from, like, do a spot with, like, two ladders on two different sides of the ring with the Lucha Brothers. And, like, they both went for the moves at the same time. And it's like, that may be a good idea for, like, the live crowd who could sort of, like, maybe see it. But the people at home got to see it too, and unless like the right camera from the right angle is catching both of those things happening at the same time, it's like.
And I think the camera did miss like one.
Yeah,
of them, right?
It was like it was a weird angle where like they couldn't get the whole thing, and it's like that's the stuff that you got to be aware of. But that's nitpicky, AEW was a great show. NXT was a great, wrestling show, match for match. But I just feel like AEW was probably the better.
I will say this: Wednesday night is probably the most exciting night for wrestling for me moving forward. But that was Wednesday.
Friday night SmackDown isn't exciting.
Live on Fox.
Live with all the brightest
big
lights.
Things are gone.
The brightest lighting you've ever seen in your life.
Lots of bright Michael.
Fam, my eyes got tired watching SmackDown.
Yo,
legit.
And
I wasn't tired.
They definitely made it look like a big show.
I had to look away from the screen.
Props for that. So. I hate the theme, but that's just my personal taste.
I hate too much.
It looked like Monday Night Football. I get what they're going for. I'm just not a fan of it, and that's my personal take.
It looked weird. I just
with the big graphics.
You know when it really looked weird? When the New Day was like dancing. That shit, I
got a giant Big E gyrating in front of your face.
But the graphics themselves, like the CGI, like whatever, it just moves weird for me. Like I don't like it.
It's just that it has nothing to do with it being WWE or the wrestlers or anything. Even when they do like those type of graphics for like the Super Bowl or NBA final, whatever the sporting event is, I'm always like, it's a little cringy to me.
Yeah,
it's like
there you go.
Yeah, that's a little cringy.
It's a little cringy. It's a little too cringy for me, and it definitely did come off like this is NFL,
especially with the music, with the Are you ready for some
football
wrestling?
Are you ready? I'm fam. My favorite intro for SmackDown of all time was the one. I don't know if it was the second or probably the third one.
It's my life, my time.
Yeah, that was just cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Kurt and Biker Taker and all them guys in the locker.
It was different,
gritty.
It was gritty. It was a nice little vibe, as the kids would say.
Yep, exactly. But SmackDown as a show, you started off with King Corbin, Becky Lynch, and The Rock. It was what it was.
Listen,
nothing.
WWE has to do something about making these characters that they have larger than life. Becky Lynch is good. Becky Lynch is fine. She looks like a star. Her accent is something to get around. You know what I mean? But
she's gotten a lot. Better.
But for the most part, she talks like somebody who should be at the top of the heap
of the company.
Yeah,
not even just the women's division.
Right.
She definitely held herself like right alongside The Rock with the quips back and forth and everything.
The Rock just has that delivery, that charisma that's just unmatched, and maybe that comes along once in a lifetime. But freaking Corbin, Baron Corbin. I wish that I worked for WWE just so I can make Baron Corbin my personal pet product. Because I see what Vince is trying to do, and I see why people hate him now. But it's just like, I just feel like for whatever reason, whatever system, the writing that's there, they don't give Corbin anything to work with. You know what I'm saying? To make him that character that they really want him to be.
And it's not Corbin. I know a lot of people love to kind of hate on Corbin. It's not. Corbin's good in the ring. Corbin's shown that like he could kind of be that guy with the right direction and everything. But it's like ever since they made him... what was it, Constable Corbin?
Since let's keep it a buck. Ever since they wanted him to cut his hair,
I was about to say, ever since he got a haircut,
right? And I mean, maybe he needed one. He was going bald. He was starting to look weird. And I'm not saying that nobody's ever. I mean, they just didn't want Hulk Hogan 2.0, I guess, on their screen.
Ever since he cut his hair and started dressing like a hostess at a restaurant.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, y'all could do better than this. There's got to be some type of look, some type of something. And I feel like now that he's King Corbin, now we have an opportunity to sort of,
switch up the look.
Put him in some gear.
He's just out there in what? A wife beater and some jeans?
A wife beater and some slacks. A wife beater and some skinny jeans. Looking like whatever.
And it's like Corbin was like that guy, like back in NXT, like he used to run through dudes, like to the point like the whole gimmick was like the crowd counting down to see how long it would take him to beat a guy. Like it's like, and that finisher, like End of Days, is like one of the best finishers.
It's a
best looking finishers.
It's a protected finisher. Nobody ever kicks out of it. I don't think anybody's kicked out of End of Days.
I don't believe so.
That I've seen.
I don't believe so.
And it's like, great. This guy has everything that you would want. But the look just looks so like, you know what I'm saying? You could tell they want to do something with him. You could tell they're trying to do something with him. They're shoving whatever they're doing, they're shoving it down our throats. Right? And I don't blame them because I do see the potential in him, but they got to do something else at this point. They got to switch up his look. They got to put him in there with like some type of like acting coach or whatever. I don't even know if that's like a real thing, but like, you know, like the promo on. No, I might be getting ahead of myself. I might be skipping ahead to the pay-per-view.
Got you. Well,
but
yeah.
Just his talking pattern is just so regular. Everything just comes off too regular for a guy.
It's like the delivery.
For a guy that can be larger than life.
So moving on, we had after that went into the tag match: Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Sasha Banks. Like I said before, not that it was bad, but just we seen it before. I don't really think we need to talk about it.
Charlotte's over. Charlotte's always going to be over, and Charlotte is a capable wrestler, and she's good. So nothing to say there.
Yeah, she's all right. I'm joking. Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura. Wasn't really. It was just kind of.
Shinsuke is great.
How you feel about him with Sammy?
I don't like it. He doesn't need it.
You don't think he needs Sammy?
WWE needs to figure out what the hell they're doing with some of the people because they have great guys on the roster. Shinsuke Nakamura in that little bit, cause it's like I feel like I haven't seen Shinsuke Nakamura in forever on TV.
And he's been the Intercontinental Champion, so
he is.
Tell me how that worked.
He's great.
I feel like he's outside of the NXT right now, yes, currently. Wow. Outside of his run in NXT, I think the most I've enjoyed, and I like Shinsuke, the most I've enjoyed Shinsuke on the main roster was with the whole no speak of English, like that whole heelish, like.
I think it might be hard to, I guess, keep a character going with him. Maybe, but in ring though, just the way he moves, his footwork.
He did like a floating armbar and stuff that looked beautiful.
That was beautiful. I'm like, yo, this guy is a wrestling like god, but it's like, how do you play into that on a show with so many different? Not even like it's not that it has so many different personalities. It's like, what do you do with Shinsuke Nakamura to showcase that this guy is really a step ahead of everybody on the roster and different?
Yeah, they got to do something with him. That match just ended with the Fiend coming out, messing up Seth. That was kind of, the go home segment between the two of them before the pay-per-view and everything. After that, you had the ladder match, career versus career. Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens, who Kevin Owens won. He should have won, but let's be real. Shane McMahon isn't going anywhere.
You don't think he's going anywhere? I think they could.
Maybe it's just me being.
I've heard some theories.
You think he's out of here?
Not that he's out of here.
Well, just like on TV.
Off TV, because I feel like if Fox is really trying to move in that direction of, this is going to be more sports-like and this, that, and the third, then maybe I've heard, I don't know, maybe they want to do away with, the
on-air authority
figure who's unfair and, always gets involved and always does heelish things. And
you want it to be like real sports. Obviously, real sports, you have commissioners. You need to bring back somebody like my man Jack Tunney.
Yeah.
Just have him. If something goes down and you need to hear from the authority, have him in the presidential office, like
a William Regal.
Exactly.
Like William Regal isn't out there every week.
This is very, very true. Or even on a smaller level, Drake Maverick, how he runs 205 Live. Yeah. 205 Live usually opens up with Drake saying, "These are the matches for this week. This is why this guy's fighting this guy. This is why these guys are fighting amongst themselves. This is why this is happening." That's it. It's a quick 5 minutes. It's no 20-minute in-ring promo every single week. Just get over the matches and get out of there. That's all you need to do.
But here's something that I honestly, and maybe, I don't know if I sound like I'm contradicting myself. I don't know. I don't really have a hatred for Shane McMahon. But I feel like, okay, well, I don't know. I could see Shane McMahon moving over to Raw. I feel like if these are going to be like really two different shows, right? Raw and SmackDown now. And two networks with maybe two different philosophies. I don't think USA necessarily is hard pressed to have like, okay, the show has to be like this. But we've heard in the past that Fox is saying that this show needs to be like this. We want our show to be this way. We want our show to have the stars on our show and not on the other show, and it's got to be a sports thing, whatever like that. Let USA take the reins off and be the more like Attitude Era type of, you know what I mean? Like,
and we briefly spoke about that too, I believe. Like if WWE is gonna be the quote unquote WWE show, if Raw is gonna be the WWE show, let it be. Like, throw all the gimmicks, have the Fiend on there, have all the wacky stuff happening on Raw, like Braun flipping over ambulances and all type of stuff that, you know, come on, like we know it's just entertainment, but you know what I mean?
But then, like I said, it plays into what I was saying about Paul Heyman, where like I feel like, you know, SmackDown was sort of like left to just be the B show back in the day, and Paul Heyman made that
into something.
I feel like Raw is being thrown into the same position where it's like, all right, whatever, it's Raw, but SmackDown, we gotta put all the money and the lights and all this shit over here. So let Paul Heyman take Raw and make it feel like its own thing. Make it feel different.
Raw shouldn't feel like SmackDown, just like NXT feels like neither one of those shows.
Right. Because SmackDown just feels so goddamn bright.
Lots of bright, Michael.
It's just, I mean, look, it wasn't a bad show by any stretch of the, like, once it got to the ring, it was great. Once it got to everything going on in the ring, it was great. But just like from a presentation standpoint, the lights were so freaking bright.
Only match I didn't really like enjoy, and not that it was bad.
The intro
but it was just
so over the top and big and corny, like big to the point that it was corny. And that's what I was saying. It was too like, you could tell we're trying to make this like the larger than life. Ooh,
yeah. It just
didn't feel organic.
Nah, it was kind of what I thought it was gonna be. It looked like Monday Night Football.
Right.
But after that, you have this throwing together 8-man tag: Braun Strowman, The Miz, and Heavy Machinery versus AJ, Dolph, Robert Roode, and Randy Orton. It's really a nothing match. Everybody ran through their spots real quick.
Yeah.
But that was all just a setup for whatever they're going to end up doing with Braun Strowman and the Gypsy King.
Oh, right.
Tyson Fury.
Now, is that all going to be playing out at Crown Jewel? I've heard that.
That's what they're saying. Who knows? They say a lot of things. But that's what they're saying is going to happen. I don't think that they would have did the whole him climbing over the barricade and all of that if it wasn't leading to something. And, you know, it kind of fed into it a little bit more with something Braun did at the pay-per-view last night with, I'll just bring it up now because I don't know if I'm going to remember to bring it up when we talk about the pay-per-view. But, like, AJ tried to jump Braun after the match, and Braun kind of knocked him out with a punch. And, you know, for whatever reason, whenever a wrestler is going to fight a boxer,
the wrestler's finisher all
of a sudden they start like it's a punch. Yeah. You seen it with Big Show with Floyd Mayweather, and you know it kind of happened. So that happened. So I'm sure they're leading to something. And Tyson Fury's supposed to be on Raw tonight too. So we're gonna see what that goes. You know that match.
That's good.
Yeah. So he's there. Supposedly he's in, and he's in.
Because that definitely came across like a moment like, okay, we're on SmackDown, so we need sports guys on SmackDown because SmackDown is going to be the sporty show.
If they're actually going to do something and not just, we have such and such in the crowd, and, you know, like it's fine to do that, but the whole interaction, it got to lead to somewhere.
Right.
And it's going to lead to, it seems like it's going to lead to somewhere, so we'll see where that goes.
I want Tyson Fury to knock out all those security guys that rushed them.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
You would think. After that, we had a lumberjack match, Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan. That was just kind of to hype up the tag match that was at the pay-per-view.
I really like Eric Rowan.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't think so, like, a few years ago. Like, everybody was, like, focused on, like, Luke Harper being, like, the breakout guy from, you know, that tag team when they were with the Wyatts and, you know, the Bludgeon Brothers. And I get it. Luke Harper, you know, he's been on the indies. People sort of know his history. He's always been great. And underutilized in WWE in a lot of people's opinions. But Eric Rowan has really...
Eric can go.
He's really grown on me.
Eric can go.
I kind of hope that Luke Harper... I want them to sort of give him a little bit more personality. I don't know. It's weird because I really do like Eric Rowan. Like, I really, for somebody who's in this position now to where he's talking and, he has this grudge against Daniel Bryan, and it's like, no, I'm not just, the muscle meathead.
And he's coherent when he's talking.
Right.
It doesn't sound like he's just spitting out some generic lines and stuff like that.
And it's like, not for nothing. As much as I do like cruiserweights and high flying guys, like, I feel like the only way cruiserweights and high flyers are effective is if you really have big, intimidating, athletic, bruiser, sorry to sound like Vincent McMahon, beefy, you know what I mean? Like,
so much beef!
Right, no, but like real, like, good, big guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, to play off of and like to sort of give you like those brutal power moves and, you know what I'm saying? Like, because otherwise it's just a bunch of flippy shit for flippy shit's sake.
For flippy shit's sake, yep.
And like, Eric Rowan sort of fills that void, him and Luke Harper, and, not to skip ahead, but I really enjoyed that match at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. I liked it too.
Like, that was probably my favorite match at the pay, not for nothing.
I liked it too. It was really, really good. Better than I was thinking it was going to be.
Right.
It was really, really good. Just to finish off with SmackDown, after that we had the main event of the evening. One of the greatest championship matches.
This was a great classic 5-star main event.
6 stars in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar challenging WWE champion Kofi Kingston.
It was a challenge?
For the belt.
It was a slaughter.
Lasted a whole 10 seconds.
It was a toothpick getting thrown into a wood chipper.
I think the match was over before Michael Cole even finished introducing the match.
Michael Cole was getting to this match is brought to you by, all right, Brock Lesnar.
We didn't even get the sponsor out there.
Man.
And the match was over. And it's like, I expected Kofi to lose. I think most people expected Kofi to lose. I'm even okay with it being done that quick. But it's like, Kofi's had such an amazing run. It's like the match was over and then you didn't see Kofi again.
Yeah, I think that was probably the thing that, and I was going to get into that.
It's like no reaction, no, it was just like, all right, get out of here. Get out of here.
It's like they went right into Kane, Velasquez, and Rey Mysterio, which, don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? I want to see where that goes. But I also kind of felt bad that Kofi, and I didn't feel bad about Kofi losing. I'm like you know what I'm saying? Like, and I wasn't mad. I wasn't all the way mad that it was a quick, like, loss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like shit like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes things like that.
It's kind of realistic. It can happen.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kofi went for a move. Brock hit his move.
Brock caught him,
hit his move, and Brock Lesnar is that guy. I've been saying that since 2001.
But it's just, they didn't even, I don't even think they mentioned Kofi.
Right. But it was like,
after that happened.
Exactly. And, I can assume that Kofi is gonna at some point come back for revenge and cost Brock, I don't know, maybe not the title, but
I don't know,
but attack Brock.
You would think, but then look at what history shows us with certain instances like that, like when Goldberg beat Kevin Owens for the Universal belt, and Owens was okay with it, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
Owens didn't
do anything.
Come back for revenge. Like, WWE just has a weird way of not
but yeah, with other people
up.
will have the same match for 3 months straight.
Yeah, we got Lacey Evans and Natalya
for the 5th time in 2 weeks.
Last man standing for who wants this. But I just wish WWE would give us something at this point to say Kofi, like some type of update on Kofi, or just, I don't know. They really. And maybe that's
maybe
by
they
design.
will this week. Maybe we'll get something this week.
Maybe that's by design. Maybe they want us to sort of forget about Kofi and then bring Kofi back in a surprise way or something like that. Here's my thing: if Kofi comes back jolly and happy as ever with the New Day, and in 2 weeks from now, like nothing happened, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah. That's when I'm really gonna start looking back at this moment and saying, that was messed up. Because Kofi does need to come back with some type of fire, some type of energy, some type of something to let us feel.
And that's not even to say like he needs to go for a rematch or he needs to just show some fire. Like, I need to get back to the top. I need to do whatever I can to get back to the top of the mountain, something like that, and then go on from there. But if it's just like you said, all right, New Day is facing the OC, and
Kofi's just tossing pancakes in the crowd like it's all good,
then yeah, no.
Then I'm gonna be pissed.
Exactly. But what do you think about your man Cain Velasquez, aka Hulk Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, a lot of people thought it was Dominic. I kind of forgot that he was signed, that he was in talks with WWE at that point. You know, I'd been hearing about it all week, but honestly, it didn't even register in my mind that, hey, maybe on Monday they were setting up with Mysterio to have him come out with the Hispanic, powerhouse that could, has history with Brock, and none of that registers. So they did a good job there. I don't know, because I'm aware that he was in AAA for Triple Mania, right?
I've heard he's supposedly really good in the ring for where he's at career-wise, as far as like how long he's been wrestling. Supposedly he's really good. So,
but here's the difference. I feel like Lucha is a completely different style from what from what they do in the United States, as far as like storytelling in the ring and how matches are paced out. Like Lucha is a lot of like stunts and a lot of like high spots and a lot of like, okay, you're gonna do that move and then you're gonna do that move and then this guy's gonna dive over the ropes and then we're all gonna dive over the ropes at the same time. And he's capable of doing the moves. Pacing out a match with Brock Lesnar of all people, who has weird matches, like I'm just wondering, is this really the match that we're building to? Like, this is really going to be like a headline, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just wondering.
Supposedly they're supposed to be fighting for the title at Crown Jewel.
I'm just wondering how that match is going to play out.
I would think that maybe with the two of them being in UFC, maybe it'll be a little bit more stiffer than we're used to seeing.
I'm curious,
but
and that's the thing too. It's like, it's Brock Lesnar, and there is that UFC history. So it's like, is Cain Velasquez really gonna bust out all the lucha moves that he's being praised for, and everybody's saying, oh, he how's it gonna go?
I'm interested to see where it goes.
They might play it off with like, oh, well, he's been training with Rey Mysterio,
yeah,
and he bust out a moonsault or two.
Yeah, 619 here.
Cain Velasquez big ass doing a 619 is hilarious.
I seen a clip of Walter pulling out. So he was in I think it was a Rev Pro show, and I forget the guy's name there from that company, but he was basically going off on Walter, something you don't do, cutting the promo, going in on Walter, and called him, you big Dominic Mysterio looking piece of shit, something like that. And they start scrapping, and Walter pulls out a 619. Pretty entertaining
Dominic
stuff.
is over.
Dominic, I'm your real papa. Classic. So that was SmackDown. SmackDown was good. You could tell they pulled out a lot, for the first show.
Well, actually, something people were complaining. I guess they advertised more than they delivered on.
They advertised Austin.
Undertaker.
They advertised Undertaker. They advertised
Hulk Hogan. Was Hulk
Hogan? I believe Flair too.
They were just like in the crowd, like finding their seats.
And some people expected Punk.
Oh yeah. They're saying that's on Fox.
You can't see me, but I'm shrugging right now.
They're saying that's on Fox though, because I guess.
But people think, oh, Punk's coming back.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm done getting excited about CM Punk returning to wrestling until it actually happens.
Yeah, fam, I'm not like even that like that indie show, it was like, oh, CM Punk did the running.
All right.
Great.
Good for him.
He's not coming back. He's not coming back.
Good for him.
And who says I want to see Punk back?
Now, if they bring him back with like the like they're planning to do with like hosting the FS1, like I think Punk is good in that position. I wouldn't be mad against Punk wrestling again, but I don't think he needs to wrestle.
No,
he doesn't need to wrestle.
Nah, you know what? I do kind of question where Punk gets his money from, though.
Well, he does a lot of like commentating stuff with like mixed martial arts and stuff. I don't know the name of the company right now.
They made it seem like Punk was set for life.
And he's been doing like some acting and stuff like that too, so. But yeah, moving on to the pay-per-view, and again, I don't want to go through each and every match, but we'll just like real quick on a pre-show. You had Natalya versus Lacey Evans, and if you didn't see that, you can watch it on Raw tonight. I'm sure they'll do it again next week as well. You had it opened up with Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell, which I thought was a pretty damn good Hell in a Cell match. That one spot that we texted about with the Meteora from the ring to Becky into the ladder.
That
looked
Becky and more so Sasha Banks, but Sasha
sells like death.
Well, she sells like death, but she also has no fear.
No,
because I feel like in any of these, like
she goes all out, like to the point, like I fear for her life sometimes.
It's like because she's been in a few of like the women's first that have been happening over like the past
she was the
years.
first Hell in a Cell. She was in the first Elimination Chamber. There's a couple more there, but those are the two that come to mind.
And she's the one who I feel like volunteers herself to go through the most punishment, and I'll
do whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hats off to her.
Yep.
And hats off to Becky for hanging with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they really went all out, and they really. And it's weird because like in this day and age where there's like no blood in a Hell in a Cell, it's like how do you put over the dangers of the Hell in a Cell without there being the blood aspect of it?
Yeah.
Without there being it can rip through your skin like cheese graters and whatever.
They did a really good job.
Yeah,
with that.
You gotta find like different ways to be inventive, and I feel like they found different ways to be inventive and violent, and yeah, hats off to them.
They did a really good job with that. And then after that, we had the match we were kind of talking about when we were talking about SmackDown, the Tornado Tag Team match. I think we said what we needed to say. It was a really good match. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan.
Daniel Bryan, anytime he's in a match, it always presents that element of danger because he's typically outsized in a lot of the matches that he's in, especially with the guys he's feuded with. Roman Reigns, just, you know.
And those have always been my favorite type of Daniel Bryan matches, even
Big
from
versus...
back in the day. My first like ever time seeing Daniel Bryan, then Bryan Danielson, was that old ROH show we went to when he fought Morishima.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know Morishima, that is a big dude.
He like detached his retina or something like
that in that match. But he's always like, to me at least, like I love him in those David versus Goliath type situations. That's where he shines the best, and this match was no different. A lot of great spots in it. The spear through the table looked really, really good. I thought Roman dead busted his knee for a second. Yeah. So, like, whenever you got me thinking, like, oh my God, he's really hurt, you're doing a pretty damn good job.
Especially when spots are like, when the spot looks like it should be, like it should have hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
That was good.
That match I really enjoyed.
Orton versus Ali, it was cool. Wasn't really nothing to write home about, but there was a lot of cool spots in there, like Ali reversing the RKO. I think that was cool. Yeah. I always love whenever Orton catches somebody out of nowhere with an RKO and kind of gives them that look like stupid. You know what I mean?
Right. Like Orton, he gets a bad rap online, but I
enjoy Orton.
I am one of those people that still enjoys Randy Orton. I like the slow pace. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like not everything could be like just fast pace. Tokyo Dome, Will Ospreay versus...
Orton's methodical. He gives off that vibe of like, why do I need to do all this fast-paced flippy-ish when I can just catch you with an RKO and that's it?
Right.
So Orton, that match was what it was.
I'm a big fan of like the Garvin stomp where you like just...
all over the body?
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Then you had the women's tag team title match, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross versus Kairi Sane and my bae, Asuka. Yes. Thank the Lord, my bae has a championship again. Good match. A lot of heel tactics going on.
You know what? And Asuka and Kairi Sane, they are the rightful women's tag team champions right now at the moment in WWE. And it's, I mean, maybe it's not saying much, but they're the two best women performers.
Only besides them, who I'd be okay being champs right now, honestly, is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Really?
I think that they've gotten a lot better in the ring.
Maybe I haven't been paying attention.
They were the last challengers for the tag belt last month, whatever show was last month, and it was a really good showing. But Asuka, especially with like all the heel tag, it's like it was a long time coming because they kept getting like kind of shafted out of their title shots and stuff like that. Little things like Asuka with the miss that got a huge pop and everything. I enjoyed it. It was little things that I even missed, and then looking back on the match, like when Kairi Sane did her little march towards the corner and boop, poked Nikki Cross in the eyes, stuff like that. I'm here for it.
Yeah, they're great.
I'm here for it. Then you had Viking Raiders, Braun Strowman against the OC.
It's a Raw match.
Yeah, pretty much. But again, like I mentioned earlier, was to set up the whole Tyson Fury coming to Raw. Yeah. Braun knocked AJ out with a punch, which afterwards it was really entertaining to see AJ. No, I'm all right, guys. I'm all right, and like falling over himself and asking the ref like, "Where am I? What day is today?" The ref telling him it's Sunday. You're in Sacramento.
They were saying because somebody got knocked out in an NFL game earlier. They're like, oh, it was like bad timing. Like, okay, a real concussion just happened,
and you guys are playing up.
You guys are playing with this concussion right now, like.
But I always enjoy Goofy AJ, man. Yeah. Even from back the old TNA days, I enjoy Goofy AJ. Did we talk? We talked about the Chad Gable King Corbin match, right? When we were talking about them on Raw, I think we talked about that a bit, but it was what it was. Gable, we might have talked about that off air actually, but Corbin went to grab the scepter. Gable rolled him up, was it? Rolled him up, got the pinfall.
Messed it up.
I think he rolled him up, got the pinfall.
But he rolled, it was definitely like a roll-up finish.
He got the win, which is good, and then got jumped afterwards. I just wish that Gable is so good in the ring despite his size. I wish that they would have gave him like more of a decisive victory.
Yeah, they got to give Gable, because here's the thing, man. I'm sorry, I don't want to piggyback off of somebody else's point, but like, we have already established that Baron Corbin is a dick. We've already established that he's a heel. We've already established he like I said, he's been shoved down our throats for for like about 2 years now with this, Constable, whatever, like that. This incarnation of Baron Corbin, we get it. You know what I'm saying? Now let's try to give somebody something. And Chad Gable, not for nothing, is an Olympian. He's a legit athlete. He does have some type of charisma to him. You guys straddled him with this short guy thing, which does nothing for him necessarily, but he's good enough in the ring. We could give him a clean, decisive victory over Corbin, who already won King of the Ring and is not gonna lose any bit of heat at this point, or any bit of his character by taking the loss.
It's
if anything,
like even
it might do more for him to.
Like, what I would kind of do, and this is me armchair booking real quick, if you don't mind, indulge me. Like, Corbin's king, right? Corbin's king now, right? Give him, like, a court, I guess you could say. Put him, like, with one or two guys who are just, like, his little lackeys or whatever. And make it so Corbin's like, look, you want to come for the crown, you got to go through my guys first. And have, like, Gable, like decisively go through those guys or something and stretch it out over a couple of weeks, whatever you got to do. But like, just do a little bit more instead of just having them go back and forth.
But see, that's the kind of like the thing with the King of the Ring. I feel like the King of the Ring title is not really a title, but it should be a title. Like, it should be like something that like it comes with some type of, it comes with some type of like reward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just walking around with the crown.
You should get like a title shot.
Well, not even just a title shot. Maybe, and even to play into Baron Corbin's whole, I was a constable of Raw. Like, I like that he was sort of like telling the ring announcer, no, you announce Chad Gable as this. Shorty Gable.
So you think some type? Yeah. Well, since he's king, some type of
pull.
A level of a level of pull, a level of authority, a level of.
Like, that would just be good just for that gimmick. And then, it's like, okay, if you want that, you got to go through, my King's Court or something. There's a lot more that they could be doing with Baron Corbin, and there's a lot more with Chad Gable. I mean, hopefully.
Look at what they did with Booker T when he became king.
Right.
He basically became a different character.
Right.
And this is just Corbin with a crown on.
And I want to see. I want to see them do more. If they're going with the character, I want to see them do more with it, and not just have him come out and say he's the king. Mm-hmm. Actually, come out and make him do things that sort of like, I'm the king, so I say this is what's gonna happen tonight. I'm gonna wrestle, or you're gonna wrestle, whatever, or you know what I mean, like
or even have him come out and like switch up the gimmick of the match, or something along the lines. Heel tactics, man. Heel tactics.
Something.
After that, we had Charlotte versus Bayley for the championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte won her 10th title in what seems like a year, but
Yeah.
it's no shot at her, but it's just,
I don't know what to make of this, honestly. I'm not mad at Charlotte winning. It's 10 times, and it's starting to feel like a little bit of overkill, I guess.
I'm all for it if it makes Bayley lean into the heel persona more than she is.
I'm confused about Bayley
because she turned heel, but she was still Bayley.
They don't pull the trigger on anything in WWE as much as they should.
I agree with you. I agree with you there.
And this is me. I honestly feel like Bayley should be that a baby face because she's legitimately like one of the few. Like she has like that John Cena baby face quality when John Cena was still tolerable. Like the kids love her. You know what I'm saying? Like she, like everything they wanted John Cena to be, Bayley is sort of that organically.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
it's like, it's refreshing if you have that.
Mm-hmm.
She just has to, show more fire in the ring and not be a pushover and all that, and she could get over being like the baby face. But all right, if you're going to go against it. But now you just got to pull the trigger on it. And it's like they don't pull the trigger all the way because I'm still a little confused. Like,
because it's like you're upset that Charlotte beat you for the title and you sat there whining and complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
Run up the ramp. Kick her ass. Like,
right.
Show some fire. But whatever. After that, we had the controversial WWE Universal Championship match. Hell in a Cell. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins. Now, you've gone back and watched this match, right?
I went back and watched it. Okay, so I fell asleep before the main event. So I didn't see not a thing with the main event. The last thing I saw was Bayley literally crying and whining, and then I knocked out. So I woke up in the middle of the night to a bunch of text messages from you saying, what the hell, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was a little upset.
Right.
I was a little upset.
So I kind of went into it bracing myself like, here was some bullshit. So I watched it, and having braced myself for it, I wasn't as mad at it as I guess like a lot of people are. But you give me your live thoughts.
So the reason why I was upset is they built the Fiend up as like this Undertaker-esque type cat. I hate to always compare Bray to the Undertaker, but you know what I mean. Like this unstoppable force, this supernatural force.
Oh, he's unstoppable
within the WWE, and like he showed that throughout the match. Seth hit curve stomps, hit pedigrees and stuff where he would either no sell it or get right up after one count, and then Seth hits a curve stomp and hits a curve stomp and hits a curve stomp and hits a curve stomp. Like it would seem like for like a good 10 minutes.
But I've hated the curb stomp as a finisher.
Which like the Fiend just kind of laid there doing nothing for like what seemed like forever.
You could have pinned him, is what you're saying?
Yes. Seth hit him with a chair. Hit him with a chair shot to the head, quote unquote. Ladder, toolbox. It's like all these things, the match continue. Mind you, this is a Hell in a Cell match, which they sell as anything can goes. It's the Devil's Playground, they call it. Seth goes, the Fiend's still getting up, still has some life. Seth goes, he grabs a sledgehammer. The rep's pleading with, Seth, stop it. This isn't you. This isn't you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Seth hits him with a sledgehammer. Mind you, after all of this other crap has gone on, that's the point that the ref decides to throw out the match.
Referee was pussy.
Seth never went for a pin after it or anything like that throughout the match. So, like, my biggest gripe right there was it's a freaking Hell in a Cell match. It's either pinfall or submission. Why, if you guys were going to do this fluke finish, it either A, didn't need to be a Hell in a Cell match.
No, it needed to be.
If you didn't want Seth to lose the belt, then it didn't need to be for the championship. Or B, if you were going to end it like that, it should have been the other way around. Where the match should have been stopped because the Fiend went too far on Seth.
But, alright. You might need a whole nother episode. Because everything you said is sort of the reason why it happened. Because I feel like all right, maybe you don't want to give the Fiend the belt. Maybe you don't want to give the Fiend the title right now. And that's sort of where my mind was. It was like, all right, the Fiend doesn't have to win it on the first try, right? But then it is sort of Hell in the Cell, right? And a DQ finish sort of doesn't make sense. But, all right, if you don't want to give the Fiend the belt, then you got to find a way out, right? I feel like Seth Rollins isn't that indestructible character where, like the Fiend could do the little hand thing and win the belt from, Seth Rollins, right? Seth Rollins isn't kicking out of a bunch of finishers from the Fiend. At least from what we've seen, the Fiend sort of does have a little bit of the upper hand on Seth Rollins. So there's no need for him to sort of take it too far because Seth Rollins, the Fiend could take care of that without going too far.
But I just feel like it would play into the character more of him trying to destroy Seth, get revenge, whatever the case is.
But like with the sledgehammer, and I mean...
No, not even like I'm saying like he should have used the sledgehammer. Just with whatever he's doing with his mallet or whatever, it's like... It just like... the ref stopped the match for Seth going too far just for right after the match was thrown out, the Fiend to jump right back up. Like, obviously, Seth wasn't going hard then. Seth wasn't going too far then. If the Fiend was A.O. freaking K, like...
And maybe WWE can't do this, but if I had full control, right, in that same situation with the whole sledgehammer thing, I would have made it where, all right, and they used blood, quote unquote, after when the Fiend did the little mandible claw on Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. It was like a pool of blood pouring out of Seth Rollins' throat or whatever. Mm-hmm. I would have had the pool of blood come out of the Fiend when Seth hit him with the sledgehammer, and then it would be like, oh, you killed him. Like, oh, now you went too far because, like, he's dead. You know what I mean? Like, you did everything. This isn't even a match anymore. Like, you killed him. And I would, like, that would have been the end of the match. I wouldn't even have, like, made it a DQ. I would have been like, all right, Seth wins because TKO, the Fiend is dead. He's bleeding all over the place from, not really bleeding, but, the box or whatever they had over him is gushing out blood.
I think I see where you're going with
You know what
this.
I mean? Like, and the Fiend is, like, this monster that, like, you had to literally sort of, like, kill, but then he's not really dead, and then just
like basically like how it is, and
just end the
Friday the 13th, and where they always think they killed Jason,
right?
But surprise!
And you could have ended it where it's like, oh my god, did Seth really just like, and like Seth is even scared of what he did, and like the referee's like, no, get out of here, like, yeah,
and then have the Fiend. Seth thinking like, oh my god, what did I just do? I went too far, this, that, and the third. And then just when he thinks he murdered this guy.
Like he gets up the ramp, right? The referee is like, whatever. And then the Fiend sits up and the scary, the scary scream.
Well, I was even thinking like the lights cut out real quick and boom, he's behind Seth again.
Or he's
Man
just
of McClaw. Or, yeah. I guess I could see it that way. But it's just like, I think one of the biggest things is this match didn't need to happen so soon. It didn't need to be for the belt. It didn't. It almost comes off as like they kind of booked themselves into a corner. So I feel like it could have been executed better. I was upset with it. Fans were upset with it. There was AEW chants, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's from the fans. They love the Bray Wyatt character so much they want to see
you want to see Bray win.
Yeah,
not literally, but just like as a character, you want him to do good.
If I take that selfish part of it, if I take that selfish part of me wanting to see Bray Wyatt win, I can see why the storyline didn't just like wrap up last night. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not totally as outraged by it as a lot of fans are. But yeah, fans were ready for Bray Wyatt to win that belt for whatever reason.
But with everything with wrestling, you can't really call it until you see what the follow-up is.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a point that will be explained tonight why all of that happened. Maybe it'll end up turning out good, but, we got to see what happens. Mm-hmm. We got to see what happens. This was good.
Podcast or the...
Podcast.
The whole week of wrestling was...
Good, I'd say, for the most part.
Yeah.
Wednesday night was amazing. So we're going to try to do this every week. I guess this is the first time us doing anything like this. We're going to just kind of do these shows, roll them out, see what feels right, what doesn't, change it up. Anybody listening, you know how to reach us. If you have any suggestions, anything you want to see us do, anything you want to see more of, anything like that. We're going to get the, I'm setting up an Instagram page for us. Yeah, I don't know if it's ready by the time this is up, but I'm setting up something. You're going to grow with us with this podcast. Everything will start to fall in place. We were talking about uploading shows to YouTube and
uploading clips,
stuff like that.
Got a bunch of ideas. Stay tuned.
But as of right now, you can reach me at Willy Dope on Instagram,
at GiF the Great on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
All God willing, all things go according to plan. This podcast should be available everywhere. But like I said, moving forward, we'll outline everything a little bit better for you guys. Thank you for coming on this trip with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. See you guys next week.
Peace.